This thing lower, Jeff? I've never tried to do it before. That's as low as it goes? All right, that's as low as it goes. The man said it. Okay, I need a higher chair then. It's like a little kid sitting right here. All right. Well, good afternoon. It was fun watching those guys operate out there with with our fans watching, their family, their friends, and everything goes up a level when you have eyeballs watching you. And it was awesome having the guys go through a game day routine of going to our team hotel, going through the Friday night dinner, the Friday night speech, the morning, the walkthroughs. A lot of our vets have been through it, but a lot of our young guys have never gone through that, and our newcomers, the transfers, and all those guys. So it was awesome to get those guys through that 2 weeks before we do it for the first time real on September 4th. But big shout out to the fans to come in for Fan Fest and see them there on the East Field. It was awesome getting an ovation from those fans, all the young kids, and seeing how happy they are wearing all their Husky jerseys. We need you, Husky Nation, for all 7 games. We only get 7 guaranteed in this amazing stadium. We miss you guys, and we're going to need your support for all 7 of them. Okay, questions?
Like Taj Davis was open all day today. How have you kind of seen him progress through camp this year?
Yeah, I think everyone saw him really progress in the spring, and he started making a bunch of plays in the spring. And I remember you guys were writing about him, and we were talking about him, here in these press conferences, and we always talk about, practice execution becomes game reality. And he was doing it in practice, showed up in the spring game, and he's been doing it in practice and training camp. And now he shows up in, one of our biggest scrimmages of this training camp. And so, he's just like everybody. We still have things to improve on, but it's awesome watching Taj take that next step in his game.
He opted out of 2020. So I wonder, once he came back, what was that like? Did he jump right back in as if he hadn't missed a beat? Did you notice some maturity? Just tell me a little bit about that.
Ooh, yeah. That was obviously that was a tough year for all of us, and it was a tough one for Taj. But I commend him for coming back and get back into shape, and I think it really gave him a feeling of gratefulness for what he missed out on and what he had to miss out on because of health reasons. And now I think every single day you can see him smiling and beaming and ready to go to work. And you can see all the work that he's put in, and you can see how it's paying off now.
With Dylan, John Donovan talked about him being unfazed. In the Utah game last year, he throws 3 interceptions and then he leads the go-ahead touchdown drive. How much have you seen that from him in terms of his ability to just not be bothered and to flush mistakes, and how important is that in a quarterback?
It's extremely important. And Dylan, you said it exactly right. I mean, you couldn't tell the difference if he threw a touchdown pass or, he just, messed up the play in the huddle and we sent the formation the wrong way. He's just very, very even-keeled, and he's in a leadership position for our offense. And so if he is way high or way low, that's going to affect everybody around him. And so it's key at that position for him to have that even keelness. But, in the same breath, it was awesome, too, at the end of that Utah game when he threw the game-winning strike and you saw the emotion coming out of him as well. And I think that's what his teammates love about him. I know that's what we love about him as well. He's been working his butt off. You could see his progression, and it's awesome to see where he's at right now. But like I tell everybody, including myself and the whole coaching staff, we're in a constant state of growth and development. We're never at a place where we're like, okay, we're good. We're always trying to get better, and Dylan Morris is no different than everybody else.
Julius Urban, that's kind of a guy that you're probably pretty familiar with since you recruited him to now. How has he kind of evolved, off the field, but also as a player?
Yeah, this is the best football Julius has played since he's arrived here on campus. You can see the maturity. He's on top of his plays, on top of where he needs to be, making the calls, making the checks. I believe right now I don't keep it as close. The interceptions and who's leading in the DB room for the best hands in the room prize, but I believe it's Julius right now. I think he has 5. It's awesome watching his progression, and I think everything that you're going to see now here moving forward is you're going to see him playing a bunch on special teams, but also you're going to see him out there on defense for everything that he's done so far in training camp 2021.
Coach, second day in a row, including yesterday's practice, where didn't see the quarterbacks throwing interceptions. And I know as a former DB coach, that probably isn't thrilling for you, but it's nice to see. Just kind of talk about their progress on taking care of the ball.
Yeah, no, that was one of the things I actually just brought him up at midfield there and commended our offense for not turning the ball over at all. No fumbles and no interceptions for the whole scrimmage. And then, of course, like you said, on the flip side, it's like, okay, hey, defense, we need to get some turnovers as well. But I tell you what, it's funny now that I'm in this position, I like that our offense is operating at a very efficient level and we're not just giving the defense throws. It's one thing if they earn one. If there's a 50-50 ball like that last touchdown pass that Sam threw there and our DB comes down with it, we can live with that one. It's the dumb mistakes, throwing it right to guys, going through the reads and making the wrong read and throwing it to a defender. We do not want that. And yeah, today was an excellent job by our quarterbacks of protecting the football.
How have you seen Jalen?
Jimmy, what have you seen from your wide receivers as a whole the first couple of weeks, and how do you kind of assess where they're at?
I love where they're at. I think I mentioned it last time. I think this is the toughest, grittiest group that we've had. They're competitive. They don't back down. They go up and get the ball. I've shown numerous plays to our whole team of those guys competing against our top guys on defense, and they're coming down with the football. And again, if they do that in practice, that's going to happen in the game.
How have you seen Jalen?
Sorry, I know I must be having long answers here. But what I also really love about what they're doing right now is they're blocking the right people in the run game. And they're having the toughness to go block that safety, go block that defensive end, go block that inside linebacker, where maybe in years past that hasn't been the case. So I'm very proud of that group. Go ahead, Lars.
How have you seen specifically Jalen Polk acclimate himself to the offense? Because it really seems like in these last 10 or so practices, he really has kicked it up another notch.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's one of the ones that has brought that toughness and that grittiness to that room, and he's not the only one. He comes in this building also just grateful every single day and smile on his face, and you can just tell he loves being here. He loves going to work, and he is a tough player. I mean, he loves being in that run game and getting those safeties, but also going up and making that sticky catch. Very excited. I'm glad he's on our team.
How would you say Cam Williams is a different player than when fans last saw him?
He's obviously more mature. I mean, he's been here. This is his third year now, and this should be his best year because he's been here this long. He's heard the calls over and over and over. He's had a good training camp. He's still we're always pushing to get him better. But I'm anticipating this being his best year because it's now he knows the defense, and now he just got to let it go and just go play fast, which I know he will.
Fair to say Cam and Julius have separated it all at safety, or do you still see that as pretty tight?
I would say they're definitely in the mix. I would say that. I think we have 2 weeks to go. There's still some things that can happen in 2 weeks. But I would definitely say that those guys are going to be playing against Montana for sure and early, both of those guys. But also there could be some other guys as well that get thrown in there in the rotation.
Deal with this with a scrimmage, but what's the balancing act where you want it to be as game-like as possible, but you don't want to show too much schematically 2 weeks before the opener? How do you kind of deal with that?
Yeah, those are internal things that we say, hey, we know we ran this play last year. It's already on film. It's okay if we show it again. And, I think you guys have noticed we've been way more open this year than any year in the past, and we've probably been way more open than other teams in the country. But now this is the last day you're out after this. But no, but yes, it's funny because we'll run things on defense. Well, we ran that on defense for the last 8 years, and so there's really not a secret in some of the stuff that we're doing. But now, as no one will be at practice here for the next 2 weeks. Definitely, the installs will go in for our first game, and there'll be different plays, different schematics that are just for our first opponent.
You mentioned before that, you like giving Husky Nation a chance to watch you guys, but Also, like, you want to keep some self-esteem or whatever. Have you been able to, like, connect with the fans or whatever since you became head coach? I mean, you kind of had COVID and weren't able to interact with people, but have you been making those connections with some of the fans more recently?
I mean, I don't know how connections in terms of them being in the stands or
Chance to just talk with people, like that's important stuff to football.
not really. I guess on the dog walk this morning, it was pretty cool. They were on the East Field there and shook a lot of the young kids' hands and just kind of gave them fist bumps up and down. And that was pretty cool. Guys were, the families were taking pictures. It was cool to connect with them that way. But just having them the opportunity to come here and come see us, and that's what the door's been open for training camp, and it's been a long time. 2019 Apple Cup, the last time they were able to see us in Husky Stadium, and we just want them to know how much we appreciate them and how much we want them to be in the stands watching us play, because they mean a lot. And I tell you what, I think we're all grateful for certain things now going through this pandemic, but us playing in front of cardboard cutouts and not feeling the passion and feeling the fans was a huge thing for our staff and our players that we missed. And we knew Husky Nation was important, but we really know how important Husky Nation is now.
Jimmy, what are a couple of things that you guys probably need to clean up? But outside of Taj Davis, seemed like a bunch of guys dropped a lot of footballs that were catchable.
Yeah. I mean, that's always I shouldn't say always, but of course we would love to catch every single football, but for sure that was one of the things I wrote down. There was some clear open drops that we need to definitely get our hands on those and catch them, and we gotta learn from those, and that's what we talk about. All of a sudden there's fans in the stands and the stakes are a little bit higher, and you can feel it feels like a game time energy, and now it's time to perform, and so we got to learn from those mistakes and make sure these next 2 weeks we shore some of that up.
How much growth did you see in Sam here today?
Yeah, every single day. I think the last time I talked to you guys, he's very smart. He works at this thing. He works extra. He comes into meetings early. He stays late. You could see when he makes a mistake, he knows why he made the mistake, so he can correct it the next time. And you're just going to see him just continue to develop and develop and develop and develop. And that's what we're about here for our whole team. Every single player, every single coach, we're trying to get better. And Sam is definitely getting better. Haven't watched the film, but obviously just sitting there just watching, you saw him take the reins and had some really good drives there and some really good throws.
Very proud of him.
Coach, Julius Buelo was out there with the first team offense today. What have you seen from him in his progression this summer? Is it something in pass pro, something in run support? What is it about Julius that gets you excited?
I would say the biggest thing Julius has shown is, you guys see what a big figure he is. He's played more physical and nasty, and that's what has been really exciting that our offensive coaches and myself have seen. He's playing more confident. And playing that nasty physicalness that we want from everybody on our team, but especially our offensive line.
Looking for a young guy, it seemed like Bruner really kind of stepped out and showed himself today.
He did, and he's been doing that in practice. So awesome for him to, we recruited him obviously as an inside linebacker, and then he played some outside linebacker for us. And he could still do that for us this year, but then now we put him back in the inside linebacker for him to be out there making all those plays, and he's continuing to get better. It's fun to watch. For us as coaches, that's what it's all about. We're trying to develop these guys and make them better football players. It's so rewarding to watch, young guys like Sam Heward and Sam Adams. I don't know if you guys have mentioned him, who's come along the last week or so here, and guys like Carson Bruner. It's a joy to watch those guys.
Powell made a lot of big plays this fall. What have you seen from him in his growth so far?
Yep. Another player that he plays physical. You're definitely going to see Mish, on a lot of our special teams. He's right there in the depth chart at defensive back. He's made a bunch of plays here now for a couple of years. It was a really good get for us. Coming from O'Day High School, and he really comes to work every day, and you can see the look in his eye, like how he's going to try to take his game to the next level. And he really does represent what we want our dogs to be about. He's tough. He works at it. He got his body in the best shape of his life, and he's starting to see the rewards from that.
With the guys leaving the program for personal reasons, is that an opportunity for a guy like Powell to open up a scholarship? Is that kind of a potential play that you're evaluating in camp?
Yeah, I mean, we're always evaluating that, whatever things happen here or there. But that's always a consideration, and we've done that obviously with players in the past. And, those things we'll always be looking at as the season progresses and at the end of the season.
Have any been handed out since the beginning of camp at all?
No. Okay. Similar to Mish Powell, looking at a couple other walk-ons that are kind of seeing more reps in camp. I think inside linebacker Ben Hines and Drew Fowler are a couple guys I've noticed, and just wondering if you can help me get acquainted with their stories a little bit. What have you seen in their time at UW? Because they've been around for a while, from Ben and Drew.
Yeah. Two of my favorites. So, I mean, Ben Hines is from Archbishop Murphy High School. We got to know him really well when we recruited Kyler Gordon. And so I remember going to those games, and obviously I'm there to recruit Kyler, but I kept looking at Ben. I'm like, this guy is a football player, and he was making play after play after play after play. And so then we started to recruit him to come to our team, and you guys see it. He's tough, he's smart, he goes out there and he makes plays. Yeah, so we're very happy he's a dog. And then Drew Fowler, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but he turned down a bunch of scholarship offers from some lower level teams and some Division I teams to come to the University of Washington. And there's another young man that I see up in Coach Gregory's office all the time, getting extra tape, getting extra work in to try to become a great inside linebacker. And he's a guy that's on track. He'll be a special teams presence for us. And then eventually he'll be out there on defense as well. He's putting that much work in. He's making that many plays. And that's, our whole thing is we want to reward hard workers around here, whether you're on scholarship or you're not on scholarship. And it's so cool when we have guys like that just come in here with the right mindset, and it makes everybody better. Awesome. Thank you very much. Sorry, Eddie. I talk a lot, man. Sounds like a team meeting, huh? Blah, 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 blah.
Same question. I'd love to get your thoughts. Your teammates in the same room with Ben Hines and Carson Bruner and Drew Fowler. These are some guys that have kind of risen up the depth chart due to some things that have happened in the room. And so, what can you tell me about these three guys one at a time?
One at a time. Okay. So, I think one of the things this offseason is that as a position group, I think BG challenged the whole group to enhance their game as a linebacker. And so, it's all the credit to them, because it was never me or Jackson trying to bring guys in. Ben was trying to come in early, watch film, ask questions, go upstairs to BG in the middle of June and ask football questions. And the same goes with Drew. Drew's always been like that. One of the first memories I had with Drew was literally, and we have days off on Mondays. I walk in and try to watch film, and I see Drew running around the stadium trying to get some work, and that's a freshman. So Drew's always been a grinder like that. And Carson's just been making plays. He was an outside backer in the spring, so I really didn't get to see a lot of him. But when they moved him back to inside, it just, they just gave him free reign, and he just started making plays. And I don't know, I think it's just a Bruner thing. They just make plays here, so it's a big thing for them. So yeah.
Eddie, just how do you feel now you're two weeks out from game time? Just when you look at the group as a whole, where do you feel like the defense is at when you're 2 weeks out?
Yeah, I think we're in a really good spot. I think that as a unit wise, we are all very comfortable. Like I said last time, we all know what we're doing out there, and it's just we're just very anxious but very patient, and just trying to maximize every single day to try to get better before game one. But I'm very confident in this defense and what we're doing out there.
I'm just wondering, how far along are you in your school? Because I know you're trying to become a doctor, right?
Yeah. So I'm gonna try to grow. My graduation date is spring of this year, or 22, if that makes sense. So yeah.
Now you have the date written down somewhere, right?
Yeah, it's somewhere down the line, and then it'll be like a couple classes for post-bac. But yeah, it's basically I graduate this year, and then I have to take a couple classes. But I'm gonna be a doctor, so there's really no timetable for that.
How do you approach a scrimmage like this where, you're obviously trying to make it as game-like as possible, but you're probably not trying to blow people up too much either? Do you just play like it's a game, or how do you kind of approach that?
I mean, I was honestly playing it like it was a game because it felt too much like a game. Like we went to the hotel and Coach Lake made like this great speech, and I was like, I can't believe this isn't a game right now. And like we went on the bus, like I went through like the whole like regimen and everything. And in terms of just like playing with our teammates, I feel like this camp, it's been weird because I feel like a lot of us have played a whole lot more aggressive but like we haven't like been able to injure our players. And I think that just goes to how smart we are as a team, and we know how to like defend stuff. Like we study how to tackle and we study how to make hits in the strike zone and stuff. So when we play aggressive and play hard, we don't end up hurting our players, and as well, we don't do cheap shots on like our teammates as well. So, we just been playing fast.
Eddie, the defense seemed pretty stingy overall, but Taj Davis, I think, had 13 catches today. What could you say about trying to stop him?
Yeah, 13. Oh, shit. I mean, well, like Coach Lake said, man, like Taj has just been balling out since spring, and he's been eating. I think as a defense, we just got to go watch the film, because I mean that's a great player, and he gave us a lot of fits today, and we'll go into the film room and fix those mistakes. But I really just want to give credit to Taj for that. There's not a lot of guys that's going to catch 13 balls on this, regardless of who you are. So, kudos to him.
You've been lining up next to Jackson Sermon this is the third year now, and you probably know him really well. I know you've talked about your relationship, but what differences have you seen in Jackson from 2019 to now? Man,
he's having probably one of the best camps I've seen a linebacker have here in a long time. And well, I guess I've only been here for like 3 years, but man, he's been making plays like every single day. Like when we need a play, he's there for the TFL, he's there for the PBU. He had a pick in spring ball, so it's just been like so great to see him. And I don't think he gets the credit he deserves, man, because he works his butt off every single day, and he does like all the extra stuff, like whether like after a workout he's doing extra stuff like the strength in his hammies or something else. So he's always been grinding, and it's finally paying off. And I can't wait to play side by side with him this year because he's gonna do some crazy stuff this year. So.
All right. We'll get Kate up in a moment. Thank you for your patience. Thank you, Jeff.
I had 370, is that right?
4 touchdowns.
4 interceptions.
No, that's what.
Is that wrong?
No touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 2 fumbles. It'd be kind of fun just like put those bullshit people out there, like 10 turnovers, like nobody looked good.
Like that, the fake score from last year.
Yeah. Yes. Well, that's just a different bullshit. How did the field being back out there today? Did it feel like a game atmosphere to you?
Yeah, it was, especially like seeing crowds in the fans in the crowd. It was just fun, just a little more energy, and I think there is a little bit of sloppiness on both sides of the ball because of like the little change in atmosphere, and that's why we do these things, and so we can get that out of the way and be ready for September 4th.
Definitely a couple nice catches today. Just what have you seen from him in camp as he's progressed?
Yeah, I was just talking with some of the receivers, just seeing a big boost in confidence from him, just getting the ball down the field and going through his reads, and it's been really impressive to watch. And I mean, you guys saw it today, just marching down the field, going fast. It's been really good.
In all your years at UW, have you ever recalled like just any kind of camp in general, whether it be spring, summer, where the offense has just had so much control over the defense, as maybe these past couple of weeks have shown?
Yeah, I mean, I think this camp has been the best performance an offense has put up that I've been around, and I think it just goes to like the scheme we're running and the players we have and the confidence we've been able to build with the reps and the time together. It's just come together at the right time, and it's fun to be a part of.
Feeling more over the last year?
It's been just fun to watch, I think you see the growth. It hasn't been like something where it's been stagnant or you've seen him regress. It's been constantly getting better, constantly making better reads, constantly having more control of the offense, and I mean you're seeing an elite quarterback coming in today and moving the ball down the field, and I'm excited to work with him going forward.
How would you describe just Dylan's demeanor, I guess, in the pocket, in the huddle, in pressure situations? What is he like as a leader of that group?
Yeah, just controlled, calm, but he's also like fiery. He gets excited. I'd compare him a little bit to Jake Browning, honestly. He's got a really good demeanor, and I mean, you see Jake doing really well in the NFL with the Vikings, and comments from the coach saying that like guys just really trust him and want to follow him, and I see that from Demo too.
So you've been around here for 4 years now. I mean, what do you think is left for you to improve upon this year, maybe compared to the past years? What are you focusing on?
I think I still have a lot of room to grow in every facet of my game. But a big thing is just being just 100% perfect is the goal, like dominating one-on-ones, making big plays down the field, no drops, no MAs. I want to set a really high standard for myself, so I can strive to be the best individually.
Where do you feel you're at, like 98% at this point? Because you only really have like one drop every now and then, and you still come back and practice and make a one-handed catch. So like, how feel you are at that 100% or close to it?
I don't know. It's hard. I never want to be satisfied with where I'm at. I want to be my biggest critic. I want to always push myself to do more, whether people think I'm at the top or not. And just evaluating my game, evaluating my film, I think anyone would tell you I have stuff to improve on, but especially like me, like I know I have a lot of things to improve on. Okay, you're 2 weeks away from, we've talked about it with the fans a little bit, like it's been 21 months since the fans have been able to fill up the stands. But what about for you playing in front of 70,000? I mean, 2,500 today it's a nice little buzz, but it's going to be different to have 70,000 people. What's it going to be like, you think, to play in front of that many again?
Yeah, it feels like something from a past life that we played in front of 70,000. Like you kind of like faintly remember like the roar of the crowd and just kind of the electricity, and it's so loud that you like can't hear yourself think, like you can kind of feel the noise. I just kind of like replay that in my head, and it's different when you're in the moment, you know, and so I'm excited to get that feeling back, to have Husky Nation back in the stadium, and I can't wait.
Did it seem like guys dropped a few more passes than normal today? We watched practice a lot, and I couldn't remember. Taj Davis caught everything almost thrown to him, but it seemed like a lot of guys were dropping balls here and there, and I thought maybe they're a little excited or something.
Yeah, I think that's part of it, you know, like just putting on the game jersey, having fans in the stands, and just kind of getting the jitters out. And like I said, that's why we do today. That's why Coach Lake has us do mock games with fans in the stands, just to like find that even keel, not too high, not too low, ready to make plays. And I think like guys, myself included, just need to slow down a little bit and lock in, slow down our thinking, and execute and do what we know how to do.
How much have you seen Mark Redmond grow this fall?
I've seen him grow a ton. He's another guy who has just been constantly improving, and especially for this being his second year and his first year being under some extraordinary circumstances. He's come a long way and is super mature for a second-year player as far as being a tight end and knowing all the calls and technique and stuff. So he's come a long way and is a really good player.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.